Alrighty, we are recording. This is first podcast in probably 2 months, month and a
Yeah,
half, 2 months.
I don't think we've done one since like Christmas time.
Yeah, so Ben and I are just catching up. We've had a lot of things going on in life, obviously moving through work life, travel, all this other stuff that seems to be a 25-year-old's dream. And now we got deer on the mind, and Ben kind of kicked it off. I haven't thought about it hardly at all. And, you kicked me in the ass because you're like, yeah, I'm going to go scout. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I probably should because I've never really walked this early in the year. Typically, I don't shed hunt because I don't find any sheds, but just some other things that could get you out and prep you for next year.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a shame that we don't live close by anymore because I feel like I've gotten just like progressively more and more and more obsessed with hunting over the past couple of years where like
Yeah.
come July I'd be starting to get pretty excited and I'd maybe get out and scout a couple times and by like December I was pretty much done for the year and now it's like, February I didn't think about hunting much, but
No, that's
like
March now.
by March I'm back to like I'm like, okay, I need to get out and scout. I need to go find my spots. Like I gotta work harder this year. I need to kill something. So I feel like it's good to have somebody that you can do that with. And
Hmm.
you and I mean, we'd share spots or whatever, tag team it and it'd be a whole
Yeah, and
lot.
it's
But
right as it was getting really good. That's the only kicker because like I grew up and I do it with my dad or I do it with my cousins. I've just become less close doing that stuff with my cousins. They don't hardly even hunt at the level that I'd say I hunt at anymore. My dad definitely doesn't. I got friends like Kyler and Jake and Waylon, but because even they live an hour away, like they're gonna hunt the same county land spots they've hunted, and they're not much for doing trips, so I don't really do anything with them. And then my other buddy Austin Deuce, like he's always been into it, but I think I really rattled him last year. I took him fishing a few times, and we went hunting, and like he's just like he flicked a switch where he's like, well, shit, I got somebody to do it with again now. Like I'm excited to go. So there might be
yeah,
a chance that, he's probably in my head one of the only guys I can really get out there and go on some stuff because he's just down for anything. And it's crazy. Not that I want to talk about people's personalities, but I have for the most part, a go, 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 like from one thing to the next personality. And not very many people that I know do. But Austin's one of those guys where he's a super chill. Like I think he just has this routine where he works, he'll sit home, work, sit home. But as soon as you offer to do something other than that, he's like, let's do it. Like I don't get
yeah,
to do a whole lot, so let's do it. And I love
yeah,
that. So
yeah. Well, and maybe I mean I think Ohio. So this year I'm going to switch and hunt Ohio. So I literally live on the border of Ohio and Kentucky. And this year we got down here late. Like I didn't move here till mid-August and had never been here before. So I'm like, I just need to pick a state, hunt there. Like I don't need to buy two tags. It's going to take me long enough to learn like, two or three pieces of public. And I picked Kentucky. And it was a
yeah.
good learning experience, but I think this year I definitely need to be in Ohio. So, but anyways, with that being said, like maybe you come down here at the end of October or something for a few days and we hunt, or who knows, you know.
Yeah, and it sounds like at that time next year, I should have a lot more free time, depending on what I have going on, just because now I'm taking on, you know, less work, but hopefully more work at a higher cost, if that makes sense. But I mean, we'll see. I have a feeling that it's going to be good for me and just being able to do some stuff that I'm also not going to do what I did this year. So if we want to talk about a podcast theme, we're going to hit some scouting things. I also kind of want to recap like things I did wrong. Like we talked about a season recap, but that was more on a detailed level of like each hunt. This is just in general what I would do different. In last year around this time and around April, Ben and I would have phone call conversations about, okay, All these states applications are opening up. It's time to buy and apply, whether you're buying a preference point or whether you're trying to plan for your next year's hunt. And I was like, oh, I could go to South Dakota, I could cash in Wyoming, I could, I got North Dakota, I got Kansas, like all these options. And I'm like, I'm gonna roll the dice and go Kansas, North Dakota. And I did those hunts this year. I drew those tags. And I kind of crashed and burned. And I look at that in a recap where, with everything I have going on in my life right now and some of the success I still hold that I want to have in Wisconsin, I think I'm going to go less balls to the walls with out of state tags, meaning I'm going to draw one tag and then try to just do that hunt. And anything else that I do anywhere else that I hunt is just going to be a leftover state tag option, whether I want to come down to Ohio. So that way I don't have to it took me forever to draw this tag. I got to, all I got to do is think about it. It'll be like, yeah, you know what? Maybe 3 weeks from now I'll go to Ohio. The majority of it, we're just going to hunt, hang out, and have fun. And I'm not worried about you trying to fill this tag with a giant deer because it took me so many years to draw this tag.
Right. Yeah. And that's what's kind of been hard for me is like you and I have talked about Wyoming a little bit. And it's just like, I haven't pinpointed what it is. If it's just like I'm so like whitetails on the brain or what, but it's like I don't know. It's hard for me to do a different trip, which might sound dumb, but it's because it's like that's also what I really want to do is go hunt mule deer. But it's also hard middle of October for me to leave that and go, especially when I know. Like this past year, like my goal was really to shoot a public land buck. Well, we were doing like kind of a family trip back in Wisconsin, week of hunting, and it was right during peak rut. So I left here and went to do that. My goal was to kill a public land buck, but it was more important to me to hang out with family. And I knew I was going to have a great hunting experience up there. And so that's what I went and did. And so knowing that that's probably going to be what I do again this year, it's really hard for me in October to want to leave here and go somewhere else. I really want to kill something here. So it's hard to get your brain to want to do that when you already know you're leaving once to go somewhere else during the best time of the year.
I've officially made my mind up already. I was hung up about, I have 5 elk points in Wyoming, got 5 deer points. I got 4 Iowa points. I was, a month ago, I was like, okay, I'm going to draw my Wyoming elk tag or my Wyoming mule deer tag, go on that hunt, pretty much guarantee myself a deer, and then draw Iowa and just make a bunch of 3-day weekend trips. And the more I thought about it, as I'm like, I'm going to buy 1 more Iowa point, save up for the zone I really wanted to get, and just solidify that for 2026. And then I'm gonna draw my Wyoming mule deer tag. I can get up to 3 people a tag because the unit I'm going to hunt only takes 1 point. It's not like it's a trophy unit. You're not shooting giant bucks, but you're just going out there to shoot a deer. And whether that's, you, my dad, if Austin Deuce or somebody, like whoever, by the time May comes around says, hey, I want to get a tag, like I'll pool my points in and we'll just go hunt. And that's it's a 5-day season. It's 7 total days. I mean, you'd go like Tuesday through Sunday or whatever it is. I think the season always opens on October 15th, whatever day that is. You just want to get there ready to go the day before. Within 4 days of hunting, you should be able to shoot, a mule deer. Because Waylon and his friend group or brothers, they've gone out now the last 3 years and they're always tagged out by the second day. They're not shooting giants, but if you're there to just see the country and shoot deer, like it's easy.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I would like to do it. You and I will have to talk more about that and logistics and what's going to work, what's not. But I don't know. So where do we want to start? We both have been in the woods a little bit now. Probably me more than you. I think you just pulled a camera, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't say I've been in the woods. I was ice fishing until like 10 a.m. yesterday morning. And then you called me and went through your venture of your scouting trip. And then I all of a sudden got the itch. More or less, I just didn't want to be lazy. And I know I needed to start, walking and getting some steps in. So I'm like, yeah, the snow is kind of melted by now. I should be able to go out there in the woods and go grab a trail camera and do some scouting. But I ended up getting my trail camera that I had left. I put it out there October 4th. And I think it had died or hadn't taken a picture since like Christmas. Even though when I got to my camera, I flicked the button, I turned it off and it turned back on again, said the battery was good. Granted, there was no deer tracks in the snow, so it very well just couldn't have been a single animal in my camera for 2.5 months. But there was not a whole lot of deer sign in that woods. I was able to pull my camera, got some recon work in that spot, which ironically, if you remember this conversation last year, I did the same damn thing. You and I were out there when I put out that trail camera. I put it out early, and I never went back to that spot, never hunted it, never checked the trail camera until like May last year. And I had like all season's worth and off season's worth. And I'm like, wow, there's actually quite a few good bucks in there. So that's why I went and put the camera back out in October, because I'm like, it's kind of close to a private cornfield. I had good deer last year. Let's, do it again this year. So I hung a camera and I hunted that same night. I had 3 does come by. I could have shot that night, and I left. Never hunted it again because I ended up tagging out, a couple of weeks later, and I don't have a doe tag for that county. So I left that camera and I'm like, oh, I'm excited to go check it. And I went and checked it, walked through the woods yesterday, and we've now had consistently a good 6 to 8 inches of snow for the last month and a half, I'd say, since January. So like tracks aren't necessarily fresh, but you should be able to see tracks from up to a month and a half ago, and there was none. I mean, I cut 3 sets total in the entire 40 acres, and there was nothing by that trail camera. I didn't see any newer rubs from when I was there in October that I picked up on. No scrapes. So there just wasn't a lot of deer traffic in there. There was a lot of people signed on that camera just for the area that it was in. Nobody messed with it. But again, there was enough decent bucks to get me excited where I'm now, this will be year 3 or season 3 coming up, where I'm like, I should maybe put some time into this spot, because it's a big chunk of public. Like I should just make sure I do some more walks as soon as the snow's gone, to just check it out and get ahead. Because I think that's a spot where there's so much land that I can get away from a lot of the people. And I know there's deer there, and there's good looking bucks. Like some of these bucks, even though they were 2-year-olds or 3-year-olds that made it through in December that I had pictures of, I would probably more than likely shoot this next year. Plus 2 of the other bucks were already into the 140s. And I'm like, if they made it, like, I know there's going to be good deer there. So I should just put more effort into that spot, because I definitely didn't. And it's not even that far away. Like I got there, I think I left the house at 4:00 yesterday, and I was at the parking lot at 4:15.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's easy to get to that spot.
But I had plans. Cool. I had plans to afterwards, like on the way back, just walk and speed scout some more public, and I was super excited about it. But unfortunately, the snow out in the Northwoods was not as far gone as I thought, because walking through that snow, it was anywhere from 2 inches to a foot deep, and it was just enough where you'd step on the top and then you'd break through, and step on the top, break through. Like it made the walk almost twice or 3 times as harder as it should have been. And I'm still somewhat out of shape, and that reminded me of it. So I did not decide to go try and walk. Plus it was 5:00 by the time I got out of there. It's dark by 6. So I feel like I'm going to end up walking somewhere, getting excited, and then it's going to be pitch black out, and I'm trying to walk out with my phone light. So.
Yeah, I don't blame you there, but you're still like probably 2 weeks behind me weather-wise. Well, probably more than that, but like we don't have snow left here, and it was, mid-30s and sunny when I was walking around this weekend, and makes it a lot nicer to want to be out,
Yeah.
But well, that's cool. I mean, I know I've seen a lot of the spots that you have. I mean, you definitely have some good locations around. It's just trying to find deer up there sometimes that is difficult.
Well, and it's a deer that I really want to hunt. And I've definitely, between all my trail cameras and glassing, like I found each year I always find deer that I would definitely shoot. The problem for me, it's still, I said I wasn't going to do it last year, and I did the same fucking thing again. And I don't want to pick so many spots where I'm not knowing what I should choose. And the same thing happened this year. Like I had good deer in a couple different spots, and I'd hunt this spot, hard for a couple weeks, and then I'd either burn it out or not see what I was looking for. Then I'd go check a trail camera and be like, oh, I should have been sitting this other spot. So then I sit that spot. And it's just like I was always chasing. And
Well, and I
maybe
think where people go wrong with that is you watch guys like the hunting public, and they're always out scouting, they're always out finding new spots, even in Iowa where they all live. But it's like those guys can hunt every day of the season.
Correct.
So it's like for them to take a day and go hunt a spot where they thought sign was decent, have to like, yeah, they're trying to push content out, so it's important for them to like see deer and stuff, but it's also not that big of a deal if they go to one spot one sit and it's a bust. For me and you, you have more flexibility to hunt during the week than I do, but like even so, it's still hard to just like burn a sit on a spot you're not sure about.
I know, doesn't that suck? Like if you had a full work week, most 95% of people on this planet do, where they get Saturday and possibly Sunday, 2 days a week, where they're like, I get 4 sits, and that's if I'm like advantageous, I'm waking up early, I'm hunting late. You get 4 sits and you burn one day and don't see deer. That was your experience this year, and it's frustrating, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it's just like you said, it's hard because it's just the reality for most people, not much you can do about it. But I definitely feel that point that you were making of like too many spots, nothing really stands out any over the others, and it's like, where do I go? Because unless you pick the right spot, any of the other spots are going to feel like a wasted sit.
Yep. It happens more than that.
Yeah. So.
But to my advantage, now that I have at least like every spot I've hunted this year, I basically now have at least 2 full seasons of history with, whether that's me hunting, trail cameras, some other stuff. Like, and it's funny to think that the trail camera I pulled last night is a spot I've only hunted once, and I've had a trail camera there basically 2 seasons. And like date wise, calendar wise, the deer show up about the same time. And it's like, okay, the first 2 weeks of October, I've had good bucks on that camera, and I have not hunted there. So I'm like thinking towards next year, I just need to look at some of the history I have, not just of a specific deer, but just deer in general, and be like, oh, weird. These 2 weeks, it seems like year after year, there's always deer in this spot. Maybe I should kick myself in the ass, and during that set of dates during the month, if I have a tag, just go sit in the area, go walk it for a day, and be like, okay, yeah, there's actually deer here. Hunt the deer while they're here.
Yeah, and that's what's hard is like I remember you telling me down here, it's like you're probably going to take your first year to learn it. Like you might have success, but it's just you don't have history with the area, and that makes it hard. And that's what's kind of hard about the decision I've made to kind of switch it up. Is not to say I won't hunt public in Kentucky like we talked about yesterday. Like I'll probably do a little bit of scouting there in the summer. I can buy a resident tag now for like $60. So for me to, try and hunt early season there or whatever might be worth it. But I think the better place to be from what I've seen is the Ohio side of the border. And I don't have any history with anything there. I pretty much wasted last season hunting somewhere that I'm probably not really going to hunt much ever again. The only reason I'd switch back to Kentucky is if I lock down private land there.
Sure.
So, or move to a different part of Kentucky, which I don't think I'd ever do, but.
Or you fill your Ohio tag right away and you're looking for something to do.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. In that case, like I know there's good bucks out there and around. It's too hard to hunt them on the pieces that I was on. It feels like there's no rhyme or reason to anything.
No, or, on a different approach, different look at it is, I'd still stick to your plan of hunt where you're interested in this year. But you do have some knowledge, like all the phone calls we have, all the trail camera pictures, like you had some good bucks. You just didn't experience them on the sits. So it's almost like maybe next year, like don't sit the spots that you sat, like see where else you can push into. And if that's an off season thing, like some of those thickets that you and I had talked about once the leaves fell, have you trying to walk through? Because early season, you're like, yeah, you can't walk through that stuff. But maybe while the leaves are gone, like go blow it up, like go walk through everything and see if you can find yourself a hidden pocket that you can shoot 30 yards each direction that you just didn't find that maybe is in the right spot.
Yeah.
That would be my only
it might
way
be
to look
worth
at it.
taking a day this time of the year to do that. I don't know. But and it's not even necessarily that I was in the wrong spot. It's like I said, I came up here for a week in the beginning of November, and both the spots I had trail cameras out on this one specific piece where I had really good bucks. I had multiple daylight pictures of shooters that week.
Just when you weren't there. Yeah.
Just when I wasn't there, which you got to expect when you leave during the rut. But I think from what I saw, I've only gone out and scouted one piece of public. It's a big piece in Ohio. It's just the habitat's better. I think the pressure might be a little more, I will say, but the habitat's better. Oh my word, what was I going to say? The deer sign seems better. There's actually like food sources around, which helps a ton. The territory, or like the terrain, just makes a lot more sense. Like there's a lot more elevation, I would say, which I like that can very much determine a deer's movement a lot of times, and make them more predictable, I feel like. Whereas where I was in Kentucky had probably more elevation than Wisconsin, but I'd say it was just rolling hills, not like steep edges and like cliff type shit. So I'm excited. And I met a friend who's a big hunt. He doesn't hunt public, but he's killed a couple of really big bucks. And his brother actually has permission on the neighboring piece to this piece of public. And I found a couple spots, within a few hundred yards of this private that his brother has permission on. And he was showing me some of the trail camera pictures that his brother have of bucks around, and like there's a few no doubters on it that made it through the year. So definitely I think using part of the public. So I do feel like I have something to go on. My plan this year is, it's like last year I felt like I pushed myself really hard. I got to a point where I was ready to break one time last year, and I kind of threw in the towel for that one day and didn't go hunt when I could have. Other than that, I pushed myself hard. I hunted later than I ever have, like into the year. This year it's just push myself harder, like try and get 50 60 70 miles walked this off season, like scouting. And like you and I talked about this year, I think it might be worth just hanging a couple of presets, like that might help me a little bit. And so it's one of those things you always like think you're working hard, and then you sit back and reflect, and it's like, did I go as hard as I could have,
Yeah, and I feel like for me more than not, so the answer is always no, right?
Yeah, like I worked hard. Like I worked harder than most people would. But like, did I go as hard as I could have? Probably not.
Yeah.
Or did I always make the smartest decisions? Probably not. Like I probably should have taken the back half of September to just like scout more. Like I should have hunted early season when the deer are predictable. Like mid-September through the first week in October has just like never been good for me anyways. The weather was still hot down here. Like rather than just go hunt all the time, every time I had a chance, I probably should have just scouted more. Like it's public land. Who cares if you blow it up? Like other people might. So
no, the other people are. That's the thing. Like just when you're trying to be, and you and I've had those talks where you're trying to be sneaky and think about access and scent and other stuff, and you do all of those things, you get in your stand, and then boom, there's some Joe Blow just walking around making noise, doing like, and that happens like weekly down there, like weekly.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So, and I don't know, it's from the spots I've found so far that I'd like to sit this fall. Like they just seem to make a little bit more sense to me. Like, you know how sometimes you'll find a spot and it's like, okay, the sign's here, like, but something about it I just don't really like. And it's like, you should just go off the sign, but something in your head just isn't clicking with that spot. And I feel like I had that quite a bit last year, and like the spots I've found this year, I'm like, okay, the signs here, and like this seems like a no-brainer. Like the
Sure.
big pictures here. They bet on this ridge in the morning, come down the hill at night. There's thick security cover, whatever it might be. There's oaks up top. Like, just from what I've found, it just seems to make more sense. So.
Yeah, you're gonna have to start paying attention to that guy on Instagram I sent you that always dives through out of
I've been watching
Hunt Hill Country because he's over in that area, and that's always interesting. Like I wish I'd have found some of that stuff earlier in my life. All the times I hunted bluff country in Minnesota, like I'd always hunt in the bottoms in the morning and up at top in the evening, and I did that for years. And then I'm sitting there listening to all these people who are like, no, typically in the morning, your deer, at first light will be in the bottom, making their way up top to bed because the thermals start to drop. Then they can smell their way up. They'll go find a spot to bed. And then the evening time, they'll, if there's a food source right on top, they might scale the side and then pop up where they want to. But for the most part, the deer will go down in the evening. And I'm like, I've been doing this backwards the last 5 years I've been hunting.
Right.
And then the first year I did it, boom, I shot a fucking booner. So it's like,
yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm excited from what I know. There's more deer on this piece. Like I said, this guy showed me trail camera pictures. Our viewers aren't going to be able to see this, but I found a shed of a really nice buck that I would for sure shoot. And there's another guy I've been talking with online that has kind of been helpful to me that like showed me some of the bucks he has on camera out there. So hopefully it doesn't get just pounded, but I think there's some spots where I can get away from the people too. So
yeah.
So
the outlook's looking good. You got confidence coming into the off season, and it's just a kind of a waiting game. Just get out there, scout when you can. Try and door knock, try and get some, permission that helps alleviate some of the stuff. But at the end of the day, worst comes to worst, you're hunting public and you just need to have a couple spots that you think are, I wouldn't even think about spots specifically. Like, and I've never done this, like lock down the damn area, find the area where you're like somewhere in this 100 acres, there's going to be a shooter buck. Now, where in this 100 acres can I go hunt? If I'm hunting here and I'm not seeing deer, cool. I need to go somewhere else in that 100 acres and just break it down smaller than that.
Yeah. How much did you door knock really at all when you lived in Missouri?
Yeah, not a whole lot. I honestly hunted the public because I had the same vendetta you did, where I grew up. Before I moved to Missouri, I had only really hunted private. Like I had private in Eau Claire County, I had private in Taylor County, Chippewa County. Like I hunted private land just with permission. I moved to Missouri and I'm like, I'm going to hunt public. And it's because I had seen some really good deer on public. I've seen lots of deer, but I had door knocked a couple times. I had one lady that told me she would totally let me because I was a nice kid. The only problem is the year before she had let two other younger kids deer hunt and they ended up shooting some of her cattle with bows and arrows. So she's done letting people hunt. Yeah, she's like, if you'd asked me last year, I'd like, you sound way nicer and, more responsible than the other guys I let hunt, but they ruined it. And I'm sorry, I'm just not letting anybody. And it was fine. And then the other couple people I door knocked on laughed at me and said, not unless you're willing to pay. And I'm like, okay, well, that's fine. I'm not going to pay to deer hunt. And then just about every other private piece was owned by Larry Potterfield. So that was not going to happen.
Yeah, I'm curious to see, like, I've got a bunch of pins marked to knock, and like I'm curious to see what Ohio versus Kentucky will be like, because the the 7 or 8 doors I have knocked in Kentucky seem like not a lot of people are hunting it, but it's more like, oh no, or like, oh, I don't hunt, but like my dad hunts, so I want to save it for him, or I have these young kids hunting, so I want to keep it for them or whatever. And I'm curious to see if Ohio will be more like, no, we hunt it. Like, don't need anybody else. So
yeah. Well, you never know.
Yeah, you never know. Like you said, if you can actually make your way to 50 doors, like somebody you would think would say yes, even if it's 20 acres, that can be a world of difference.
Yeah, so. And it doesn't even have to be like pieces around public. Like you could look at like an area from where you live to where that public is or wherever you're planning on hunting and just Like, look for old names like the Edwins and the Irmas and the Beths
Yeah.
or whatever. Then maybe they only own 20 acres, but around, the square mile, it's like this could be a good section in the bigger picture. And maybe there's a chance they let you hunt just a small chunk. You put out a trail camera, and who knows? It could be Shangri-La.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Just kind of another year of pounding it and trying to learn as much as I can.
and you're not going to go turkey hunt, huh? You're not going to use turkey hunting as a excuse to go do some more scouting.
Nah, probably not, honestly. Like, I don't even know when their turkey season is. I mean, similar dates up there, but just I've never learned how to call,
Mm-hmm.
so that's tough. Um, and turkeys are one of those things that, and I don't know enough about it, so don't flame me in the comments of this video or. I feel like it's really fun if you've gotten into it in the past. And I feel like most people get into it as a family thing or a friends thing. And I just never did. And now I don't have a group of friends to do it with down here. So it's just not that like exciting for me. To have a turkey fan on my wall just doesn't do a ton for me. So
No, I don't. Yeah, I'd say turkey. It's so different. Like deer hunting, you shoot that trophy and you have it on your wall, and you always look back at it. Turkey hunting is solely the hunt itself, just in the moment in that hunt. But
yeah,
I will be in Kentucky for the opener. I'm going to be flying in the 11th of April, and I'll be there the 12th, 13th, and 14th. Flying home the 15th.
where's that?
Hour and a half southwest of you.
Oh, okay.
So it's just west of Lexington by 45 minutes, probably. So,
Oh, yeah, you're coming over that weekend.
yeah, I'll be flying into Louisville and getting picked up from there. I'm going to go hunt with my friends at Working Class Hunter. They invited me down again this year to go hunt at their property. So,
Keep working them for me. They're not that far from me. Tell them I just need a spot. I just want to shoot one. Like, I'll fit into whatever their standards for shooting a deer is. I just want to come hunt. I'd be a good TV personality for them.
I'll talk to Cliff. He lets me shoot turkeys, but I haven't got the invite myself to come deer hunt yet. But we'll see if I send him enough tree stands. I mentioned it because he wanted me to bring somebody else for this turkey hunt, and I'm like, nobody else from work is able to come with me, so I'm just coming down by myself. But if for some reason you weren't busy that weekend and you wanted to hunt, I guarantee I could probably get you there, just for shits and giggles.
We'll see. Well, I'll see. I guess I don't think I have anything going on that weekend, but I don't know. I'll probably be getting drunk, would be my guess.
I have not been here. This is the first drink I've had, and I feel like since the airport. I just got home from work tonight. I worked late. I told them, earlier last week that Monday you have me until 3 latest. I got something else booked. They had me there until 5:30 tonight. So I'm glad that whatever I had got canceled. And they didn't even ask me about it. They just kept firing it like, all right, let's film this. Let's film this, which is good. Like the business needs to be proactive like that. But I'm like, it's the wrong day to do that. Like I'm like, Ben and I are going to podcast. I was supposed to be, working for somebody else this hour of the day. And I'm like, I didn't even eat lunch, dude. I woke up at 7, had 2 eggs, and I haven't eaten anything since. So
yeah, that's brutal.
But I'll get there. I don't think we're going to podcast too much longer. So
yeah, I kind of running out of stuff to talk about. I mean, we've both been in the woods, but not a ton. So
no, and there shouldn't be more than that. Like I said, I just need to. Well, the shitty thing for me in March, right? So I get invited by my partners at Homegrown Outfitters to go on their annual shed hunts, which these guys find like 200 to 300 sheds on all of their farms in Buffalo County. And they're like, yeah, you find little ones, you find nice sheds, you find big ones. And I miss it every year because March is show season for me. Like this weekend, I'll be at the Iowa Deer Classic. The following weekend, I'm at the Minnesota Deer Classic. And then I'm flying to Kentucky for Ellie's birthday on the 21st of March. So I'll be there for that weekend. And then the following weekend, I'm at the Wisconsin Deer Classic. So I'm like, my March flies by. Yeah. And by the time April shows up, I'm like, I'm not going to go shed hunt because just about everywhere has been picked over. Might as well just wait 2 weeks for turkey season and, be out in the woods then.
Yeah. Yeah, but it is, I guess, moral of the story, get out there. It's not too early to get out there. And, shed hunting is fun. Like I've never really gotten into it. It was fun to find that shed the other day, but this is also a great time of the year to like learn where the deer are using once the leaves are off the trees. You can see what the landscape is, see where the cover still is. It's really easy to pick out deer trails this time of the year. Like I learned a lot that I don't think I would have learned had I gone out there in July. So,
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, alrighty, kids. Make sure you get your asses out in the woods. Just don't get your asses out in the woods where Ben hunts in Ohio or Kentucky, and stay out of where I hunt in Wisconsin.
Yep, exactly. Otherwise, get out there.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, guys. Yeah, we'll catch you on the next episode.